Hello, everybody, and welcome in to tonight's episode of System Crash. We are playing tonight. We're going to be playing a Necrobiotic, and we've got Mitch or Penny from Tail joining us, and he is going to be running the game for us. So we'll start off with quick introductions. Hi, I'm Anita. My pronouns are she/they. And I'm very excited to get started. I am the founder and runner of the Critical Misses Twitch channel, so you can find me here. I'll throw it over to Harper.
Hey everyone, my name is Harper. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the 3 co-hosts of System Crash. And I think I'm throwing it down to Darby.
Hello, I'm Darby. I am one of the other co-hosts of the show. I also use she, her pronouns. Pass to the left? To the right? What direction?
Hey everybody, my name is Ryan, or some people know me better as Sim. My pronouns are he, him. Is there anything else I had to say? I can't remember. Okay, cool. Glorious.
Yeah, I know I was muted. I'm aware, Faye. I am always muted on stream. And we will turn it over to Mitch.
I am Mitchell, also known as Penny for Tail on all the interwebs. Today we are doing a playthrough of Necrobiotic, which is a TTRPG coming to Kickstarter May 12th of this year. So I'm super excited. Also super excited to be here. And I guess that's my intro. Should I just pop in? Are we ready to go?
I
don't know.
think we are. Do you want to do like a quick sort of overview spiel? Like, give us the nickel tour.
The
of
elevator.
The system.
Yeah.
Give us the elevator pitch.
Yeah, so Necrobiotic starts in last year or this year, where births started declining and people just started dying at an increased rate. We kind of humanity limps all the way to 2100, only doing so because of a United Kingdom's scientist named Elisabetta, who, through the use of science and advanced biology and such like that, was able to reanimate and then program the dead, which they now call constructs. And so humanity, which is behind the walls of Florence, greatly decreased, now relies on these constructs for everyday manual labor, from farming to cleaning the streets, to serving you coffee, to minding the little ones. And so they're kind of very much integrated into this society here in Florence, Italy. And yeah, that's kind of the setting in the world and such like that. So it's pretty macabre, with lots of themes concerning like death and ceremony involving it. One thing with Florence is that once you die, your body is not your own. It's legally assigned to the Citadel of Science, so that they can then tan it, program it, and send it off to do work throughout the city. No one really knows what's really going on past the walls of Florence, and what all the other countries are doing, but for the most part, Florence is all by themselves. And that's kind of where we're at. So it's a card-based system where everyone takes a standard deck of cards, though the other day we discovered you could do so with a tarot deck, which we were very excited about. So there will be rules on how to play with a tarot deck. And looking at the pre-gens, you have the basis of the deck that you will be creating from the standard deck of cards that you have. So you have 4 features or stats. They are flesh, steel, steam, and gear. Each one has an associated suit. So for flesh, it's hearts; steel, it's diamonds; steam, it's clubs; gear, it's spades. And then a number right after that. So for the architect, you have flesh 6. And what that means is you are going to take out the ace of hearts, the 2 of hearts, the 3 of hearts, the 4 of hearts, all the way up till you get to 6. You set that aside. That is slowly going to become your deck as you go through the different abilities or features, and you keep adding those cards into your new deck that you're creating. After that, you're just adding in a joker. It could be any joker. And you're making a decision between a jack or a queen, the 2 face cards, which provides an ability special to your character. And that's always active, and as well as represents another card type. You can get the other figure as well, or the other face card, but you have to put in your flaw, which is always the king. But first, let's just focus on getting the basis of the deck. So yeah, those 4 initial categories of flesh, steel, steam, and gear.
So from the deck of cards, we pull the related suits, and then the numbers 1 through 6 from the...
Yeah, 1
or
through
1 through
whatever
the number is?
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're looking at our pre-gens for the features, we're just grabbing, because for Technophant it says hearts 4, so I'm just pulling out the 4 of hearts and stuff like that.
You're putting the ace of 4, the 2 of 4, the ace of hearts, the 2 of hearts, the 3 of hearts, the 4 of hearts. Yeah, so you always go to the lowest value, ace being 1 in this case, and then going up to whatever number you have next to that feature.
I see.
Yeah. And so, yes.
Sorry, this is like, I'm always very slow with new systems, so.
Oh, it's no problem. Once you have your deck, it becomes infinitely easy. It's just kind of taking some cards from the deck and then creating your own smaller deck. As you're creating it, you can kind of start to see what type of person you are. Flesh is social. Steel is physical. Steam is mental, and gear is organizational. So it refers to kind of your special training, the thing that separates you from everyone else. And so yeah, like architect is really good with social stuff. They have high amount of flesh cards, but not so good with the physical abilities. While the technophant is infinitely on the opposing side of that.
So I'm going to ask the exact same thing that Darby just asked.
No, it's totally cool. So you're playing the militia, right? Or
I am the technosophist.
Awesome, cool. So you see, you have flesh of hearts with a value of 3. So you're taking the ace of hearts, the 2 of hearts, and the 3 of hearts. You're setting that aside, and that's the basis of your deck. And then you go down to steel. You're going ace of diamonds, 2 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, then the 4 of diamonds, and then you go do the same thing for your steam, which is clubs, and then gear, which is spades.
Okay, so it's the lower up till that number.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
I have all
So-
of them organized by number.
I am playing the militia pre-gen, so tell me if I've done it correctly. This is my small deck, and it has the ace through 4 of hearts, the ace through 4 of diamonds, the ace through 7 of clubs, and ace through 5 of spades.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and so for you, so everyone also needs to put in a joker into your deck. It could be any, doesn't really matter. And then if you go down on your character sheet, you'll see figures, abilities, values, suits, and description. You have Jack always represents kind of who you are, the stuff that's just kind of you grew up with, learn things. And so for the militia, it is the special ability street urchin. And so you see, you put that Jack into your deck if that's the ability you decide to choose. It represents the value and suit that's right next to it. So we usually recommend choosing the face card that associated with the suit, so the Heart of Jacks for that particular ability. And then you get to see in the description what it provides you throughout all of play, even if you don't have it in your hand. So yeah, you choose either the Jack or the Queen. And if you want both, you would then take in the King, which is a flaw. Then you get all 3 of those cards.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Definitely hear you saying the words that I'm going to definitely be asking you.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. Make the base of the deck, and then once you're at that point, I could re-speak. Oh God, words.
For the record, I am taking I am taking both. So I've got the Jack, Queen, and King
Excellent.
in my deck.
Yay. And yeah, for you, Harper, you just shuffle that deck, and then you're good to go.
All right.
I think I have this. And then you were saying things about Jack and things that I was not hearing because I was trying to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah, no problem. So if you go down to a little bit further down in the character sheet, it's going to have the Jack, the Queen, and the King. Jack is something that you've kind of learned, while the Queen is something just inherent with who you are. And so your choice is, do I want the Jack or do I want the Queen for this pre-gen? So you look at the ability, and it also has a value in suit or another card that it represents. And you put one of those in your deck. If you're just like, I want all 3, I want the Jack and I want the Queen, you have to put in the King, which is a flaw. So you're basically trading off putting a special ability on your character sheet by also putting a flaw into your character sheet as well. Or your character deck.
I am a flawed enough individual as is.
Yeah, that's right.
Life.
Yeah, and flaws can be pretty brutal.
We're gonna take all 3. These sound fun.
That's just not the most Darby thing.
Yeah, Jack is
In
for
all
the
fairness, Harper
technopod
did the
martial
same.
arts. Yeah.
It's a Team Chaotic Pod is on it.
I don't know. I feel like Harper could have gone either way, though. Darby was absolutely going to take the flaw.
Listen, I live to enable chaos, and I think that choosing both and taking the flaw enables chaos.
Look,
I am going to be the odd person out of this group, and I will only take the Jack for the ability Surgeon.
I mean,
Nice.
I'm just taking the Queen for mine, so no flaw for me. I'm perfect.
I don't know what
Flawless.
Listen, flaws make a character fun.
They do. But
Especially
also,
because I believe that my flaw is ostracized. So
Yeah.
my flaw
Yay.
is telling me that I can.
You mean you're the size of like a large bird?
We're just not gonna.
that is
flaunt it too
ostrich
much.
sized.
Oh.
I am ostracized.
Oh, we forgot to put ostrich size. That's our bad. That's probably a mistranslation. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a boon.
That was-
to
that was
be
a real
7
foul
to
play
9
right
feet
there.
tall.
Oh man, another pun.
You need like alternate.
You will be
rule
taking
sets
psychic damage throughout this entire stream from Darby.
that are
I'm just
like
winging these puns.
weird, like the weird wasteland stuff.
failed
from
to take
Fallout
flight.
New Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Everything's just kind of weird.
Didn't quite fit the bill.
You're just gonna keep pecking away at this one, aren't you?
Yeah, whether or not we are ready for these puns, they will keep on coming.
The one shot will just be all about birds.
Yes.
I mean, zombie birds.
Oh god.
The birds
yeah,
work for the
that'd be-
bourgeoisie.
They do. All right, so
my armor.
huh?
My armor has power assisted thrust, so could it look like a bird? Just
Yeah.
punch.
it
could
could
just have
pretty
an
much
Iron
look
Man
like
suit.
however you want. Yeah.
I was gonna say, oh, of course, that makes sense for Florence. And I remember that it's Venice that has Pigeon Plaza. So
Yeah, you could kind of have a mix with like, was it Falcon with the little wings and everything as you leap up into the sky. But yeah, it's basically up to you how you want it to look. All right, cool. So that's character. You've set up your characters and everything like that.
We have our decks.
Yeah. The next thing is at the beginning of play, which is right now. You take your first breath of the day. It's very much equivalent to spoons when you wake up and you're like, holy crap, I can only do this stuff today, or I can't do that. So you draw the first top six cards of your deck after shuffling your deck. Make sure to shuffle it.
Okay.
I think that
man,
because I
only-
took the queen, I get 7 cards in my hand, correct?
You do, correct.
Harper again.
Is that an ability of your class?
Yeah, it is.
For Magic the Gathering, you know that card draw's the most powerful mechanic.
I mean,
It
Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, I do the trifecta. It's
Yeah.
powerful in all of them.
This is true.
Do we look at our hands?
Yeah, the
I
only
mean, they're
thing
attached to our
is.
arms.
Oh my god, I love it. The only thing is, if you pull the king, you put it back into your deck and you shuffle it, and then you draw back up to 6. Flaws don't really come into play during the first day or the first breath of the day. They will mess you up later, but at least when you first wake up, you're safe.
You just
No.
wake up and life kicks you in the shins. And just
Yeah,
like,
it's like bam.
Do you want lower numbers or higher numbers?
Higher numbers is better.
Okay.
And we'll kind of get into like what successes mean
This
as
is
what-
gonna
when
be
we have our first stuff.
great, everybody. I drew some really good cards.
Look, I have just about every low card I could possibly have.
Well, at least
I
you
only
know
have
maybe
2
later.
suits.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's not a that's great. Yeah, that's great. That'll be great. I think one day we'll have rules to play it with like a Magic deck. That'll be interesting.
ah.
So-
A cat.
1, 2, 3. Got it. Thanks, Tech, Thanks for that.
Excellent. All right, I think everyone has drawn 6 cards or 7 if you're just better in some ways than everyone else.
Just built different.
Yeah.
Literally.
To you,
built
but I'm
different.
different.
Yeah. So this world, everyone is pretty much like assigned tasks by the time you are the age of 14. The Citadel of Science is very methodical and will do anything that's required in order for humanity to continue on. Some of the perks, though, about Florence is that it's more of an egalitarian society than the societies we know of today. It definitely doesn't represent or reflect the modern or what we know as Florence because of a huge surge of movement and stuff like that. There's more of a representation of peoples from all over the world. Also, wealth doesn't matter as much anymore because there are houses aplenty in Florence, and wealth just what is really afforded respect in this society is are you a scientist? Are you one of those people who have the secret language of mathematics, biology, and all sorts? Those people are afforded way more respect than someone with a large mansion or whatnot. And yeah, I think those were kind of like the beats of the society that Florence encompasses. So as normal, I like to start with a morning engagement with every kind of one shot. But I'll leave it to you guys to kind of what do you guys think you guys do in the morning? Is it drink coffee? You go to a coffee shop, smoothies, breakfast place, a French toast, I had chicken and waffles this morning, so I'll also put chicken and waffles into that as well. But what do you guys think?
Like,
We can also introduce our characters during this time as well if we've got names for them.
Yeah, when we find out where everyone's going, we'll kind of introduce you guys and see like the type of person you are and what you would be ordering and the general vibe.
I think that as a very, very busy architect, Lynn, my character, Lin, is just trying to be as efficient as possible. So it's like a nutrient shake and nothing else, and like black coffee, and that's it. Like, I can get the requisite amount of calories in my body and we can go from there. We don't need to worry about anything fancy or anything like super healthy. Just like, I just want it. All it is caloric intake. It's just nutrients that have to go into your body. So everything is perfectly calibrated and perfectly all right.
What is this? What does this thing look like? Is it kind of like that Matrix? You know, that almost like, oh my gosh, I think it was like almost like a porridge type of thing, or is it more like milkshakey or smoothie like?
This is like it's gray. It is kind of like a smoothie, and it does not smell delicious. It is just meant to feed you.
It's just like
Soylent.
Yep. Lynn goes by they them pronouns, and Lynn has their Soylent for the day, and gets a start on things, because what else is there to do in this world?
Yeah, just work. Like,
Yep.
It's kind of this morning there's a slight fog kind of settling in between the streets of Florence. Florence has this beautiful property as having so much history behind it. Centuries of buildings surround you. Cathedrals at once kind of took a note on the potential of humanity and what it could achieve through arts and creative expenditures. And now everything just kind of sits quiet in this street where the fog just kind of almost lingers around your calves, just settling on the ground. Here out in the streets, it's quiet, especially if you've ever been to any large city or even Florence itself. It's very quiet. There's only 15,000 people living in Florence, which is still a decent amount, but a drastic decrease since 2000. Here on the street at this place that serves this Soylent-like paste for nutrients and the individual on the go. You have a single person who sometimes works there, but it looks like today they've been replaced, or maybe they are having a construct do this particular task from here on out. Constructs of this time during Florence look almost like a tanned leathery mannequin with robotic movements and very long claws that kind of and on this ice cream stand like little thing scoops up this paste and pours it into a tin cup.
I'll be sort of inspecting the work.
Yeah, it's a decent model. Like it's not going anyplace. It definitely has a very simplistic programming. It doesn't have eyes, as most do not. Its mouth is just kind of sewn shut. It doesn't really need vocals anymore. But gazing at you with this kind of empty expression, it hands you the cup in a very
cup.
robotic.
I
and then
nod
just
because it's polite, and then I walk away.
Yeah. There are chairs and tables kind of surrounding it, as if the expectation is like maybe humanity will mingle one day, but it is not that day. But how's everyone else doing, and what made you choose to enjoy this particular pace this morning?
I think that Prospera is on her way to work and is stopping to get one espresso. And that is all.
Yeah. The thing, almost like a little door, opens up, what would normally be like the stomach for a person. And it's kind of nice and tanned within with like a little boiler plate inside it that they pull out this carafe of coffee and such and pours it in, blends it, pops a few espressos in and hands it to you, placing the carafe back into its chest.
Yep, I pay. I'm not even looking, just taking it and going.
How about you other two?
Do you want to go, Darby, or should I? I guess that means I'll go. So my character, Dr. Stone, he doesn't leave his house. He sends out a robot with a screen, just a small crab robot, 4 legs, just a screen. He's still in bed, and he's just going to get. He's just sending it out to get just a hot chocolate and a whatever passes for a donut.
Yeah, it's probably
Hot
so
chocolate
as you're
flavored sack.
yeah, it's probably just the paste like hardened in like a little circular fashion, with like gray sprinkles as if they attempted to make it slightly joyful, but it misses the
There's
mark by several
None of that
degrees.
here.
So it creates this little donut and hot chocolate for you, providing this little creature the plate as it.
Yep. The top just opens, and then and yeah, Dr. Stone is he, him.
Excellent. And finally, Darby.
Okay, I got Washimi. She's probably on her morning jog, doing her stretches so that she can get real be in sync with her extremely leggy techno machine. And she probably just like runs in, doesn't stop moving, just is like stretching in place or like jogging, and then yeah, just like but as soon as she gets it, she's out.
The pace going into like as you catch it, a little bit of the pace like slops off onto the ground, making a somewhat sizzling sound as it does. But it's brisk morning, as your character Darby, as you're running down the street, preparing for a day, you get the very unique and enchanting moment of seeing 3 little ones. And in this world, like, children are rare and precious. Like, there's not many of them, and there won't be many of them in the future. Humanity, because of advanced medicine, is pretty much able to cure any illness or disease that humanity might have, and can even prolong and push back death, kick it down the block a few decades. So someone who is 100 would look more like a 50-year-old as they go. But still, children are rare. And in this moment, you see 2 girls and 1 boy gazing at you with like these eyes of admiration to see what would amount to seeing like Captain America running through the streets. Like, there you go, preparing and probably having adventures every day, saving humanity, everything, and they're just watching you kind of from right outside this apartment complex through the gates, their hands kind of grasping the iron bars with this look of wonder. One of them even waves like,
can I jog up to them and just, when I'm in front of them, I'll stop and say hello.
Yeah, the boy just like opens his mouth, and the 2 girls by them, each of them probably look like around like 9 or 8. One of the girls kind of grasps the bars with like this excited look, shaking it a little bit. Hi.
What's your name?
Elise.
Elise. Very nice to meet you.
Thanks. It's what's yours?
Washimi.
Oh wow. This is Jojo. And this is Sam. What are you gonna do today?
Well, today I'm going to take care. Do you know what Oh, what the hell are they called? Do you know what a techno power armor is?
We've seen it from afar, yeah.
Well, I am a techno pilot, techno fan. So I'm going to be taking care of my armor today, making sure it's in tip-top shape.
Can you bring it by?
You know, I think that there's three little young ones here who might want to see a techno powered armor, so keep an eye out.
We would love nothing more than that. That sounds absolutely fantastical. We've only seen them from way out, and we've heard people talking about them, and it just sounds so amazing. And you can see like this is something rare, like talking to someone with like excitement and like the giddiness of dreams that only like the young or the very creative kind of has throughout life, that optimistic far-fetched stretchness to stars that they may never grasp.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just kind of like a cut into that atmosphere. Boots kind of walk along the cobblestone steps behind them, and you see a gentleman with a tie, two gentlemen actually, each one sporting a well-cut beard, bald head, kind of deep somber green eyes as they stare at you. One of them moves forward and places a hand upon one of their heads. I believe it's time to go inside to resume your lessons, little ones. And I'll kind of look at you and then back at this person.
Is there any equivalent of an insight check in this universe?
There is. It's empathy. And so this comes up to our first roll of the game. So whenever you want to do something, normally you are restricted to playing one card. Mm-hmm. You can play two cards if you are trained in it. For instance, the architect is trained in empathy, and I think militia as well. So they could play two. Unfortunately, I'm pretty confident the technophon, that is not something that they are trained in. So you would be only able to play one card. Though there are two different ways to get a success. Mm-hmm. One of which is to play a card that matches the suit of the task that you are trying to achieve. So in this case, this is kind of a social endeavor, or it could be more of a mental endeavor, just depending on how your character looks at humanity and how they try to read people. So if you play a card with a matching suit, so hearts, flesh, gears, clubs, that is one success no matter the numeric value of that card.
Okay.
The second way of gaining successes is by getting an 8, and that nets you one success. If you get a 16, that nets you 2 successes. Okay. So you either the suit or you're getting a multiple of 8 for that success.
Okay. So I think, training as a recruit. I'm thinking that she looks at things very clinically and very like, humanity is driven like this way, like these small children should be spoken to in this way. So I think, and she's very, I would say, technically minded. So I think that's how she would look at it. I'm gonna go with STEAM, is it? Or is it? Yeah, okay. So
yeah, STEAM is mental, so that's perfect.
All right, mental. So I will play a 4 of clubs.
Perfect. Yeah, so you discard that.
Do I draw back up, or do I?
Yeah, your cards will continue to dwindle down until you have the chance to take another breath, and then you would draw up to 6 and possibly discard a card if you would like. So you don't have enough time now.
Question. So the jokers that we shuffled into, what exactly happens if one of us has drawn, say, the joker?
Yeah, jokers are great. They are success no matter what.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The only thing that ever messes you up is if you play a king, either during a short breath past the first breath or during play, like combat or something where you're drawing blind. But we'll go into that if that occurs.
Also, I realize I have an ace of clubs, so I'm going to use that instead of my 4.
Yeah, that's a perfect tactic because you might want that 4 later to get more successes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So looking at these people with kind of that intellectual viewpoint of humanity and the look these kids kind of have over to these parents, the first thing you notice, and I guess this goes into a question of did your character have parents, or were they adopted? Were they just placed in a home? What was kind of their fondest memory growing up concerning whoever raised them in any fashion?
I think that Shimi was a fast track into like the techno powered armor. I think like her life is like this armor and is like, so I think maybe her fondest memory is like of a commanding officer that she was like close to, who took particular interest in training her. Like, I think she had parents, but I think it was like one of those programs where it's like, we're taking your kid now. Like,
yeah,
say bye to your parents. You're not going to see them again.
Yeah. And you kind of remember looking back, like cleaning your armor, and that feeling you get when you've done something right in the eyes of someone who you love their attention and their respect. This person, we'll say, had like white hair and these kind of golden eyes. This woman, well built, with scars all around her shoulder. One of kind of the greater technophants of their time. And you remember that look, right? Pride. But these people, these two, I guess these two individuals, these adults looking at these children now, that sense is but a twinkle in their eyes. There's no familiarity, no sense of pride, and certainly not love. And it's not that the kids are afraid or in dire like straits or anything. They're just, there's an aspect of them that's not being nurtured, and you can kind of see these flowers before you wilting underneath the gaze of these two parents.
Okay. The Florence army, sorry for not knowing a heck
No, you're
of a lot. How, like, what's their, like, role, I guess, in society?
Yeah, if you ever watched Attack on Titan, I kind of think of them as the scouts. So they go out of the city and they're like seeing like, how's the rest of humanity going? It's not going well. There's cannibals. There's even constructs looking for body parts to replace their own. It's not a safe world outside of Florence. And so your whole job is going out there and hoping.
So I'm really just like whole last hope of humanity. Like,
you are, yeah.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot. Oh boy.
And we'll say, like, as you're looking at these two, you're not that far from the paste maker that you got your cup from. Mm-hmm. So I think this would be a great time to bring in the other two characters who would be seeing this kind of peculiar event happening before them, especially such a enthusiastic technophant.
I guess that I'd be probably one of them.
And I'm assuming I'm the other.
I was muted. I'm a tiny robot.
Yeah, you're robot because you could. It's just kind of controlling like one of those drones. So you'd be in bed with like the little screen before you, maybe like an old Nintendo Switch. You've kind of connected up in order to control this little contraption. So you see like these three individuals and the children and everything through that visage you have.
Nintendo is what humanity can't.
Oh yeah.
I'll walk up to Washimi. Problem with the little ones?
No, not at all. Just saying hello and, talking to them about maybe what they want to do in the future.
Ah, conscripting. Yes?
Well, not conscripting, but just good to encourage young ones to think about their future.
What does this scene look like to a passerby?
I mean, it's unique in that there's children. You don't see a lot, so it probably for passerbyers would be enough to pause. There aren't many people on the streets right now, so no one else but you individuals have stopped. But if you can imagine, kind of gazing out at an old Italian home. Almost a 3-story Italian home with like a gate in the front of it that leads out to the courtyard in the center of this beautiful place. Something that none of these people would have been able to afford if things didn't get so bad. And you see kind of this parent, this individual whose hand is placed on one of the kids, slowly start to direct them away from the gate and away from this technophont.
So Lynn, I think, as an architect, would probably know a few of the soldiers and the technophants, at least by reputation through helping fix up any wounds they have or that sort of thing, prescribing medicine. So would know Wasabi.
Oshimi. Close.
Washimi, sorry. Why did I... Anyways, I'm going to just sort of take a sip of my gray juice.
For me?
Yeah.
I've got my own, but thank you.
Lynn does not know that much about social niceties. This is what they think you should do.
Oh, okay. I thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we know each other? Like,
I think I prescribed something to you a couple weeks ago. It stopped the shaking.
Oh, yes. Lynn?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. The shaking stopped, so thank you.
Excellent. If
Can't
you need
really,
any more, you know when to find me.
Yeah. I mean, it really helps because it's hard to really accurately kick things if my leg is shaking all over the place. You know.
A little bit, yes.
You really don't want to miss with the blades. You know, it's sort of.
Not generally.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. It's a donkey. Like,
enjoy the juice. Have a good day.
okay.
I think that Prospera has probably just like been diverted from the direct course of like I am going to work, and is just kind of like idly sipping the espresso and tapping the truncheon against her leg, like more force of habit than anything. Not interjecting, but just observing the situation.
I would say that Dr. Stone's mechanical it was trying to get by, but without hitting anybody, so it actually started climbing up the metal fence and then starting to like navigate around them.
How big is the robot?
It is the size of two very small poodles. It's about the size of an Xbox 360.
Okay.
But with
Just
Slim version or
no, because it needs enough room to hold the
yeah,
donut.
no, that's fair. Yeah.
Is that yours? Just gonna look at Prospera, I guess.
No, not mine.
Not my style. Why am I going Yenna voice? I'm going into Yenna's voice a lot here. I think I need something
It's
else.
the
here.
wig.
It's the wig.
The
It makes me
wig.
channel Yenna. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do the wig.
Oh, it was cool. I like it.
That's better.
Yeah.
Well, are the kids gone? They've been shuffled into the
Yeah,
house?
you kind of see them going up the stairs. The other parent continues to watch you guys with a kind of hand in his pocket.
You've got some lovely little ones there. They seem interested in techno power armor. I can just walk by in the armor if they'd like to see. If
Honestly, I think that would be unwise.
okay. Well. Have a good day. Just gonna I turn around and leave.
Enjoy the juice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just gonna just get back into jogging, like just boogieing on over.
Lynn is going to get ready to go to work.
Oh wait, how big is the armor? I was kind of imagining it to be like Fallout
Yeah.
armor. It's like that. Like
Mhm.
she's definitely not like it's not like in a suitcase that she could just like.
No. You could like it. So some of the technophants carry a coffin around, so it would be in a coffin that you kind of open up, and then you start to like place pieces on it, and it kind of expands over your body. So almost like the later Iron Man films, where they kind of piecemeal it onto themselves, and it just starts covering aspects of your frame.
Okay.
Not like the fold-out suitcase from Iron Man 2.
Yeah, it's still too hasn't gotten to that smallness yet.
Yeah,
but
it's
a
still, like,
large
quite-
coffin is usually what they put it in.
That sounds
Alright,
anime
okay.
as hell, walking around with like a coffin on your back.
Yeah, that's like
Pretty sure that was
anime.
Yeah,
it's like
that's like
Gungrave or something.
that reminds me of there's a guy in Trigon that holds a giant cross on his back.
Yep,
Yep.
that is, yeah.
That's the vibe that I'm thinking.
Heck yeah.
Would probably absolutely just run around like that whenever she wants. Just like no, yeah, she's gonna go home and put on the armor and go down the street anyways.
Excellent. So we sorry, go ahead,
I was
Dr.
going to
Stone.
say, as my mechanical keeps walking through very, very tinny, terrible speakers, you just hear really, really low strains of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. Dun, 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 dun. You're not sure if if it's walking to the beat of it or if that's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah, and music's not something people are used to either,
At
unfortunately.
this point,
It's just yeah, and especially techno funds are often looked down upon because earlier on Florence discarded all of the electronics that is not needed for humanity anymore, and that can't be kind of upheld by humanity, and so it's in this large junk pile west of Florence. And Techno's office are those who try to like look back and put things together, and everyone's just like, get over it and move on.
So
Like, that's not our life.
yeah, I've basically decided that Dr. Stone is Wallace from Wallace and Gromit, essentially.
Yeah. Oh.
He's that kind of person. He's got Rube Goldberg machines for everything.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
so
Not me just making a character I want to play again later, you know.
I mean, hearing about that giant junk pile west of Florence makes me want to go to there and
It is
actually
delightful.
play that class, and then just live in the junk piles forever.
It is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
No, it's my house. Go away. It's my pile.
But yeah,
Go find your
Lynn
own
is
pile.
going to head about going to, I guess, their office.
Yeah, you, because architect, yes.
Yes.
You get to enjoy the comforts of the Citadel of Science, this wonderful building that actually has electricity. That and a few other places in Florence still has electricity. Everyone else is kind of old gas powered and old, very old, like candles and stuff like that. It smells horrendous, and you can imagine why, this being the place where constructs are kind of made and created and then sent out. People working behind cubicles.
There's a reason why Lynn doesn't have anything that has flavor.
Yeah, just kind of everything is just.
But yeah, Lynn is going to start about the day, getting everything prepared, having like the workstation cleaned, and just going about their business and about their day until something happens.
Excellent. And how about you, Prospera? What are you up to?
I think that Prospera, I'm, after watching the brief diversion with the children and that soldier that I saw, I am continuing on to the office. I see that militia can be a variety of roles. I think that Prospera is an investigator, more so than an enforcer, although still knows how to enforce when needed. So definitely going to the office, to my very small, very tidy desk, and going over my in tray for the day, seeing what needs to be accomplished.
Yeah. Kind of looking over, crime is difficult nowadays. People still do it, but at least there's that shared taboo among all of this human society that thou shalt not kill. Because there's just so few of us. Even the worst criminal bosses who still reside in Florence stick to the code of don't kill, because this is all we have left. Going through the papers and the like, you catch a glimpse of something, an old case file. Gazing down, there are sketches of the individuals you saw earlier, those 3 children. Accompanying them, right behind them, are the same 2 parents that you saw earlier too. They have a different look to them though. But if you want to know more, you can make a check.
I would love to. I'm curious.
So this is Steam, so mental capacity, definitely.
Okay.
Since you were playing militia, reasoning would be the perfect skill to use. And so you're trained in it. You get to put down 2 cards. For this, every success gains you a question that I will answer, much like Powered by the Apocalypse.
Okay. And they have to be clubs, correct?
It doesn't. You can play whatever you want, but if your suit matches the action, so in this clubs, you gain a success, or you could have 2 cards whose value equal 8 for another success, and those stack. So you potentially, if you have a 4 of clubs and a 5 of clubs, that would be a total of 3 successes, because you have 2 cards that match the suit, and then their numeric value together equals 9, which is above 8. So another success.
Okay. Well, I don't have any clubs in my hand. So what I think can I only play 1 card if I want to?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay. So I think then what I am going to do is I am going to play my Joker.
Excellent. All right. What's your pressing thing that you're interested in knowing concerning this picture? What do you want to know?
You mentioned that the parents look odd in the picture. I want to know how in what way do they look different than when I saw them in person this morning?
Yeah. Looking at them, you see the crease of dimples in their cheeks. That slight a little bit of wrinkling that kind of spreads over someone's face with a smile. This is a happy family. which is like night and day compared to the family that you saw earlier today. This picture kind of it was done by one of your colleagues in the office. You see her kind of down the office line, working on something, doing sketches for people and the likes, because photography is just really hard to do nowadays. The date is not too long ago. It was actually just 5 months earlier this year. But they look happy, would be the biggest thing. Almost unrecognizable from what they are today.
I'd like to take the sketch and walk down to my coworker and ask her, what can you tell me about this family?
Yeah, she looks up. She has this very matted red hair, almost like mine, just kind of very thick and fluffy, going down to her shoulders. She looks up. One of her eyes is a very dark brown. The other, is new. She lost her eye about 2 years ago during one of the services she was performing on duty. And so it's been replaced by someone else's eye, someone who died, which is kind of like this very dull blue as it looks at you. She kind of looks at the sketch that you have. I'm sorry, what was the question again? And she kind of like looks down at her coffee cup.
What can you tell me about this family?
Oh yeah. And mind if I see it's been some time? I usually leave some notes on the bottom.
I'll hand it to her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, terrible thing. This. What do you want to know? It's not really a good story. It's not a happy ending or anything like that. Are you doing a case concerning him? I didn't know it was opened back up again.
Saw it in my intrader day. Wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the man right here. I mean, they're actually brothers, as you see them, kind of the same look and such, especially in the cheekbone. The one on the left, he used to be married to one of the technophants. I mean, unfortunately, she obviously we're not read in on exactly what happens out there. Probably more for our protection than anything else, but and needless to say, there was no body to bring back, no construct to be made from it, and it was not too long after they had applied for these three right here, that this happened, and I don't know, it's just all sad and everything. Why are you asking?
No reason. They just caught my eye. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're digging around old set of stories, I suggest you don't. It's just kind of, it's just not anything like was it malicious or anything. It's just, I don't know. Some of the people around here, they start digging around, and it comes to a point you wonder if there's any good files, or where those are hidden in the stacks.
Well, thanks for your time, and I'll
no problem.
Take the sketch back and go back to my desk and start reading their file.
Yeah. You see the approvals for adoption. The wife and the brother that you saw had been applying for about 4 years. Finally, were accepted. The Citadel likes to provide children in groups. They just kind of do better in some regards. So yeah, they got 3 children. Two of them related, the other not related. About 6 months into the raising of them, the wife, Haley, never returned from a venture out into the wilds. The team that was associated with them are still alive. Haley was the only one who didn't return.
Okay, and Haley is not the woman that I saw out with the children, correct?
Correct. The woman that you saw was the other Technophant, played by Darby Washimi. You see that she was a part of that group, but no association with the family beyond that.
Okay. So, just so I'm getting this straight, there are 3 adults in play. There are the 2 adults with the 3 children, and then there's Haley who died.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like kind of a wife, husband, and then brother of husband. Brother of husband seems to be supporting them in this venture.
Is there any indication of why this is in my active investigations?
So it was part of the files, particularly because there was a little bit of mystery involving the body. It wasn't brought back, which it usually is. So when it first was called in, the family thought that Haley was taken. So it's kind of one of those cold cases that is not really cold. Maybe someone kind of put what happened and just didn't file it in the correct place. And so just kind of this lost document shuffled on stacks.
Then I will probably, just because I saw her earlier today on a jog, and I see that her name, and I'm assuming her picture is associated with this, I'll be like, why not, I guess. And I will go try to pay Washimi a visit.
Excellent. We'll shift on over to Dr. Stone. What are you up to? Having the newly acquired paste donut and hot chocolate.
Well, I believe the good doctor would be trying to scavenge some more parts from the scrap pile. He's out of bed by now. He just doesn't like going outside much. So he probably sent at least 2 other drones to go get stuff from the scrap pile. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want me to roll or, draw for what I find or not.
Yeah. So for this one, it is going to be a very difficult success. So it's really kind of up to you how pleasant of a encounter you're going to have. So the potentially up to 3 successes. And of course, this would be involving your archaeo piloting, which is something you're trained in. So you're looking for gear or spades, and you can play 2 cards.
So it's a success if
it matches a suit, and you can also gain a success by getting an 8. Kind of adding those 2 cards together.
Well, I guess I will just play 2 aces, 1 a spade, 1 a heart, because I don't have any other spades.
Okay. Well, you don't have to play the hearts if it's not gonna. You don't have to play.
Oh, I
cards.
can play.
Yeah, you can play. You don't.
I'll
have
play
to.
the 1 ace, then the spade for the success.
Excellent. As you're watching your little drone move about through the piles, the junkyard of yesterday, you see a little Furby, its little eye plucked out, spring coming out of it. There are old TVs, flat screens, records and CDs, a DVD of Waterworld, as you control this thing over it. And then you get to a place in this junk pile where you see this door. And then there's nothing else concerning your little automaton. It goes blank.
Okay, so
And
he.
the connection is lost.
I don't care for that much. Is there any way I could try to reestablish contact?
Yeah, you could, of course, you'd have to get out of bed. Unfortunate, but sometimes you have to do it. Go down the street and kind of get a little bit closer to the junkyard, or even potentially go into the junkyard yourself. Other technosophists do it. But it's kind of up to you. The closer you get, the easier it is to kind of establish that connection.
And another question, when we play a card, are we drawing another card to replace it, or?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't replace any cards until you have the opportunity to relax and rest again.
Okay.
Refresh.
So he will grumble to himself and get dressed. And he puts on like an overcoat and a bowler hat that is missing like the top of it. And he will bring out two more of his automatons, his two little mechanicals. He's going to step on either one of them, so one foot is on each, and he's going to strap himself into them, and they're just going to like carry him out the door.
Excellent. Perfect. Going down the empty streets as normal, we shift on over to Lynn. How's your day at work? Excellent. So people are a little bit chatty today. You know, it's just such a dull day. People coming in and out, getting cured for...
Muted for stream there. So I... Slow day. Not very much going on, and we're being a little... Just sort of keeping busy. It's make work project day.
If you want, you can give me a success for flesh or hearts to see if you hear something of particular note.
So a success in hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. I'm going to play one of my only heart cards. I'll play this 5 for a success.
Yeah. You hear kind of these partitions in between you and the other architects. One patient is kind of talking about how they got several cuts upon their body. An accident that occurred in the junk pile. Scraping of nails, raving about some construct gone crazy. The architect listening is just kind of tossing it to the side. Not really acknowledging it and attributing it more so to lack of sleep or just the technosophists watching too much of that old school TV like Thor Ragnarok or Beauty and the Beast.
All those classics
the live
of
action
cinema.
version. Yeah,
the Dragon Ball Z movie.
Oh God, no, that was burned. That was burned a long time ago.
So, there's not that much going on. Sorry, I blanked for a little bit there. Would you be able to
That's so cool.
repeat what I have learned?
Yeah. So this individual was clawed up by some sort of construct out in the junk pile.
Okay.
But no one is believing them.
Okay. Could I go and examine that person and talk to them?
Yeah. Kind of looking over the partition, you see a man with dark-skinned, red dreads, these long kind of lacerations on their arm, but with kind of this bandaged up, and they're kind of replacing some of the skin that was electronics kind of dangling from his belt, like a Zune or an iPod.
A Zune. Oh, goodness. I'll walk in and say, do we need some assistance?
Yeah, the architect on watch is this old 80-year-old woman. So she's probably like 160. Who knows? No one asked her. And
It's
people are
rude
mostly
to
afraid
ask
of her.
a lady.
Exactly. Yeah, she's like, oh, thank God. Okay, you sit here. You handle the rest of this. My coffee break is coming up. I think I'm going to go get a sandwich.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Bye. So just kind of
And Lynn will
Scooch down.
help out this person, get them patched up, and ask for some more details. In the junk pile, you say?
Are you here to make fun of me like the others?
No, I don't do that at all. I don't joke.
All right. What's it to you? Why is it important?
Well, stories are interesting. I like stories.
Fair enough. I don't know. This kind of. Have you ever watched Labyrinth?
That's the one with, is that the one with Tom Cruise?
No. It's the oh man, the light colored hair guy with the eyeliner that's always on point. He also made lovely music.
Yeah, okay.
The David of Bowie or something.
I was thinking Legend. I was getting mixed up.
Yeah. Fair. But yeah, it's kind of like that scene, in the junk pile, and there's like this animated thing, almost like a gremlin with all these different parts on it. And I was trying to get one of the things from the top of it, and it slashed down at me, and it was hard to tell exactly where it started and it ended. But it's just kind of this weird, like, I don't know, it was like a UFO or something, but like on the ground.
UFO on the ground with claws, like a construct, but not a construct. Like a robot?
I don't know. I think maybe UFO. I'm going with UFO. That feels more appropriate.
Did it fly?
No,
Then
not
it's
really.
not a UFO, because a UFO is an unidentified flying object. This thing.
Okay, maybe a UWO, an unidentified walking object. There you go. I'm sure that was used early in the 2000s.
Whoa.
Whoa? I mean, we can always. I'm not generally going to be investigating, but you should probably tell someone about this. I'm just. Maybe take it to the militia.
Oh yeah, like they'll listen to me. Fine, sure. I'll see about it. We'll see how that goes. There's someone recently uncovered a pile, and we're pretty sure it's like old vinyl CDs and stuff like that, and I'm very excited for them.
Do you think they found any copies of E.T. for the Atari 2600?
Oh yeah, we've been at that. That's like a Technosophist, like entry baby level thing.
Interesting.
Could get you one if you want.
You're speaking my language. Don't even joke about that.
I'm just saying.
Do it. I'll finish patching them up and send them on their way. In order for them to get me a copy of E.T., the extraterrestrial, for the Atari.
He shakes his hands together, like, yeah, no problem at all. Heading on out. You see him outside of your window. You see Dr. Stone as well. He kind of outside, heading towards the western part of the gate. And between, like, closer to the Citadel, there's significantly more people milling about. You have old oxen pulling carriages, each one a construct in their own right, pulling people to various locations. And kind of through all the finagling and dodging of carriages and moving about and walking and such like that, by coincidence or maybe by something more. Lynn, you see Prospera, Washimi, and Dr. Stone kind of like run into each other, dodging like these carriages and people and the like. The same people from earlier.
Well, that's interesting. Lynn will get ready to leave the office for the day and head out into the street.
And for you three, how do you respond seeing once again, especially Washimi in what could be the most badass, cool armor ever?
I think that Prospero would just be like, "Oh, Washimi, right? I saw you earlier. Looking for you."
Just take off the helmet. Yeah, what's up? You are... How do you know my name, actually?
Prospero, I'm an investigator.
Okay. I've done my taxes.
I'm sure. I just have a couple of questions for you about an old teammate of yours.
Who?
What was her name? Haley?
Haley.
Mm-hmm. Haley.
Just whatever you can tell me about Haley.
What do I know about Haley? What do I know about this expedition? What?
Yeah, so it never kind of rang into your mind as a significant day. Like, you guys go out on patrol with usually about like 15 to 20 other technophants. You go through the farms right outside of Florence where there's constructs and people who are risking their lives outside of Florence in order to provide food for everyone. And then you get to the point where the wilderness has kind of overtaken the old world. Buildings stretching up into the sky with vines intertwined with it. Parking garages empty with old cars, empty and rustic. You guys went as far as you could, using rations to kind of stretch days out into the wilderness. Checking things for maybe hopefully some sign of something else out there, and at least taking care of any of the more aggressive individuals out of Florence to protect the farmers. It was just another day that didn't really signify anything different or unique. People die in your line of work all the time. But I guess for this instance, there was no techno-powered armor to bring back, no helmet to put on the stick to kind of remember who a person once was. There was just one less person who came back.
She just sort of didn't. We're like, as we were like sort of spreading out doing our thing, she just didn't return.
Yeah. You guys kind of like approach the city, spread out, write things down on what you see, what you hear. One person just didn't, and there wasn't any. No one said anything. It wasn't a big thing. It was just one less person didn't come back.
She just didn't come back. We did doing our patrols, doing what we were supposed to do. When we were heading back, she didn't come. all I can tell you. That's all I know.
Hmm.
Is there a particular reason why you're asking?
I'm not sure. Just following my nose here.
Yeah, Dr. Stone, how do you react to seeing these two again? And as you guys are kind of chatting, you notice Lynn coming out of the Citadel not too far.
So the doctor probably doesn't recognize them because I doubt he really saw them. But he does stop still on his two mechanicals that are strapped to his feet, and he's just kind of circling around the armor, looking it up and down. No, 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 no. It's too new. It's too new. It's too shiny and perfect. You really need to actually do something with it, not just parade it around.
I'm sorry, you are?
Yes, Dr. Stone. Apologies, I didn't mean to down talk your armor. I have a thing where if you have a machine, it should look worn, or else how does anyone know that it's actually seen use?
Oh, I mean, she's probably just gonna turn just like a big old. There's probably a big old mark on it somewhere, right? Like that's not gonna get buffed out. I mean, also, most of the things that deal like make this look worn usually makes it look worn to the point where if I keep wearing it, I will die. So,
Told that I'm quiet, so I'm going to boost myself if possible. I don't think it is though. Nope, I'm as high as I can go. Well, and that's all well and good. It's just that one needs to have confidence in their machines enough to see that they've been used. And while the mark is a good start, I definitely feel that you need to be doing more with it. But if you excuse me, I'm trying to recover one of my mechanicals. It saw a door in the scrapyard, and then it just went out, which is very unlike my own devices. So I must.
Oh, the scrapyard.
Yes.
It probably got taken down by the Uwo.
The what?
Sort of unidentified walking object.
You got it. One.
Ah, yes. I've been mistaken for one of those myself.
Apparently, there's a patient that I had over at the got scratched up by something out in the junkyard.
Yes. Well, I can't do much for people, but
That's kind of what I'm for. But you should watch out, because otherwise you'll have to see me. And hey, most people don't want to do that.
and I see you a lot.
Hey,
I mean, I don't.
I'm sorry, you said that there is an Uwo in the junkyard right now.
Yes, there seems to be.
well, last I heard, guy I fixed up was going for some new stuff. Got attacked. Kind of had claws, and metal. Just called it an Uwo. I mean, I'm not about to go walking out there, at least not by myself. But could be dangerous.
Could be fun.
Well, I think that what I'm doing can probably be put on hold for the moment to go check this out. He'd like an escort doctor. And doctor.
Yes,
Lynn's
yes.
fine.
You very well could. I'm usually capable of taking care of myself, but if we're all heading there, might be good to put the old, the gang back together, even though I have never met you before in my life.
People don't generally like to hang out with me, so I'll take any
Do any
company
of
I
you
can
have
get.
weapons or are armed anyway? This thing
In
injured a person?
response, Prospera will can you explain to me exactly what the sonic part of sonic truncheon means?
Yeah, so there are these kind of metallic and gear-like contraptions on it that when you swing it kind of produces a very shrill squeak that kind of debilitates people when you smack it into them. It's almost like being hit by, well, a club and then being hit by a subwoofer that has been turned to 11.
Cool. I think that Prospera will take out her sonic truncheon, just let it go in a circle so that there's a whistling noise, and then take the crossbow off of her back and hold it on her shoulder.
You're armed. And you two?
As a techno-sophist, I can create things, yeah? Do I have the ability to just have things that I've created as far as weapons?
Yeah.
Are you going to play for that, or...?
So you have on your sheet, you do have an air taser, if I believe.
Yes.
And then if you want to make anything else, you can make a check, whether you want kind of like a spear or something like that. Guns just aren't used. They're all just kind of gone. Bullets are just out and kaput, which is why crossbows have kind of taken more of a shine.
I was thinking more along the lines of like whatever the item would be could be a modification for the mechanicals I'm riding, so they could be like little turret type things. That I could control them.
Yeah, you can if you give me 2 successes for gear. This is definitely something that you're trained in, electronic assembly. If you can give me 2 successes, you can kind of add or have added a repeating crossbow or like a harpoon to these little contraptions that you have.
I don't have any spades anymore. So.
Do you have the ability to produce an 8 between 2 cards?
A 7, but not an 8.
So what you can do is you can play, because you can play 2 cards, you can play a card and then push. Push the limit is you discard one of your cards and then blind draw from the top of your deck in hopes that you get it.
I will absolutely do that. So I will play this 4, discard this ace to blind draw. And that is a 5 of spades, so that's 9.
Perfect. So that's 2 successes between the spades and the
clubs.
the
Did I say spades? I meant clubs. That's 1.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So then just 1 success. So one of your things has something that you can describe. It mostly works.
Mostly. So basically, I would think that y'all remember BattleBots?
Yes.
I imagine that from the front of it can extend just like this spear thing that when it's activated, all it does is just like, just in and out, like stabbing motion.
Yeah.
Like it's either on or off. It's not like I can choose when it stabs. It's just on or off.
Yeah. That's perfect. You have to basically turn it off and on again for it to...
Like, I have to reach down and flick it off. Yeah. And then, otherwise, they're heavy, so I could kick someone with them.
I don't have weapons, but I can probably get the people that use weapons up and walking again.
Okay, I'm just...
by one way or another.
Oh, fun. Well, this thing injured a person, right? Like...
Oh yeah, it tore them up real good.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just, benefit of having she's gonna wiggle her suit, is, very tall. It's mostly legs. A benefit of this...
I've noticed.
Legs for days.
Legs for days. It don't really, it really does... Ideally, when it's not damaged, nothing really hits inside the, fleshy metal tin. So, I'm just gonna make sure you don't, die.
So you go in the front and then I go in the back, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Squishy people not in tin cans. Behind. Walking tin can.
Just to check, did Lynn say that they had any weapons?
More so that
No.
they will be able, to pick you guys up if things go wrong.
One way or
One
another.
way.
Prosper will
either.
say,
Yeah.
why don't I go in the back?
But you
Just
both them in the back.
case.
I mean, yeah, I guess squishy people would go in the middle like some kind of sandwich where the bread is the tough people. Some kind of crusty bread.
I was thinking more in the way that your rib cage protects the internal organs, but that works too.
That part. Sorry, all I've been eating is smoothies for days.
Should really try some of the other flavored smoothies. Is it the same as the juice you gave me earlier?
No, I just worry about nutrition. I don't worry about flavor so much. I just started it. It's not going well. So to the junkyard?
Well, yeah.
Junkyard.
To each their own, I suppose. To the junkyard.
Doge, you can be in or out. You cannot have both.
Doge wants both and all.
Sweetie,
And everything
you can't
between.
have both. Don't stare at the door. It's not gonna.
Don't you know that Doge gets full access?
Doge does get full access. It's true.
Yeah, and as everyone's approaching the junkyard, we can go for a break. Singing over Anita.
We're going to take a quick 5-10 minute break. We're going to refresh our beverages. We're going to stretch, do bios, whatever we need to do. You should do the same. And we will be right back. Thank you all so much for that level 5 hype train. How dare you? How dare you
We
be
love
kind
you,
and
Anita.
generous? I love you all. But
Yay!
yeah, we'll talk to you later. we're live.
Yay, we're alive.
In varying states.
Yeah.
Without further ado, we'll turn it back over to Mitch to tell the rest of the story.
So you guys are headed to the junk pile, headed out west, weaving in between the streets and alleyways of Florence. Every now and then you see a construct gazing at you from an old window, carefully using its hand to keep clean this particular building. There aren't many people around the area, but the few you do kind of give a slight wave to you as you move on down. Eventually you come to the gates on the western side of Florence, stone on either side, as well as these thick wooden doors. Militia open it up for you, revealing these piles, this junkyard landscape before you. Cars, Furbies, Beanie Babies, everything from the 90s and beyond, piled up in little garbage pans, towering before you. You see other technosophists moving about kind of with buckets at their sides, looking at these items and then putting them when they're interesting enough to put in. But it's lovely in a weird sense, but the smell isn't great. It's kind of a mix of cola and a Twinkie.
Demon's just gonna pull out a little air freshener thing and dangle it on the inside of her helmet. Just yep, no.
I don't really have a sense of smell anymore, so,
I would buy that candle just to see what it smells like.
Cola and a Twinkie.
Yeah.
That'll be the official necrobiotic candle.
Gross.
With an aroma of Twinkie doused in cola. You can really smell it burning on the wick.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like Kolinky.
No, stop.
Cola.
Anytime you have colon in your word, you don't need it.
No, it's Twola. Easy.
See, I heard cola. Did anyone else hear cola?
I heard.
Like the drink?
Yeah.
That's what
Wait,
we're
isn't
talking
that
about, right?
that's what we're talking
Smells like
about?
Yeah, that's what we're
Coca-Cola
talking
and
about.
Twinkie.
Yeah, like
That's what I
Coca-Cola.
thought.
What?
And then I thought I heard something else, and I was like, wait, no, we're talking about the soda, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're
I was
making
gonna
a
call it
portmanteau
Twinkie
of
Cola,
it.
but that doesn't. No,
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue
not so much.
as a Twinkie covered in cola would,
Yeah.
You dip your Twinkie in the
If-
cola.
It fizzes, you suck in the moisture of the cola. It's just great.
It's better if
I
you.
This is
imagine
a
if you
game
put
where
a-
we bring back the dead as constructs. But this is what's grossing me out.
I mean, my thought is like that official necrobiotic candle. I assumed it would have the smell of like rotting flesh.
Like a
Not
corpse
Twinkies
plant.
going,
That
man.
would
be
smell
like one of those
better
corpse
than a
flowers.
Twinkie that's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
soaking in cola.
Yeah.
The ones that bloom every 10 years.
Why do
Yeah,
I
you-
imagine
you-
if you put a Twinkie into a glass of cola, if you come back the next day, there will be no liquid in it, and it'll all be sucked up into the Twinkie.
It'll
It's
just
like
be
this
Twinkie.
very thick Twinkie.
It's actually
It's
that
like one of
actually
those
be
grow
interesting.
your owns, like the dinosaurs, where they're just little and they
Yeah.
Okay,
Roll.
okay, we'll move on. We'll move right along.
So yeah, that's what it smells like as you are here in the junk pile. Where art thou going next?
Can I track my mechanical at all?
Yeah, definitely. There's a on your little Nintendo Switch controller. There's like the
I have one over there.
yeah. We'll say you kind of have the guy from Animal Crossing, the little raccoon with the little bells, whose hand
my God.
raises up the closer you get to.
Tom Nook.
Yeah, Tom Nook, who raises his hand the closer you get to the contraption.
All right. Well, it's over this way. This is where it last broadcast, at least. I have definitely lost his voice, but oh well.
Excellent. So it takes like an hour and a half of going through this place, weaving in and out of these piles, cardboard underneath you as you walk. And soon you come upon this place that's been cleared out, like a little alleyway between the garbage piles. And it brings you to this location that has a sense of familiarity to it. For anyone who would like to inquire about that, you can give me a Steam card. 1 success is all you need.
The junk pile is familiar to us?
Mm-hmm.
Calling us garbage?
Hey, that's my garbage!
I actually have a question.
Mhm.
You said that it takes us like an hour to get there. Is there a way that I can do a traced search
Yeah, you can.
as we're on our way? Okay.
Yeah, so that is a gear roll. You were trained in it, and pretty much every success will yield you a question that will be answered.
Okay. And I can play 2 cards, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. In that case, I would like to play the 5 and the 4 of spades, which I believe is 3 successes.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. What are your questions?
So first question that I would like to ask is, are there visible traces of an Uwo?
Oh, I love that it's called that. As you're getting closer, you notice that there are footsteps, kind of going about in zigzags, in a very confusing nature, as if its whole purpose is to kind of increase the amount of time it takes to find the exact location of this individual. The footprints are thick enough, or at least they meld into the trash enough to suggest that this thing has some weight to it, maybe a techno-powered armor, or potentially something bigger.
Okay. Using my, I'm assuming being a member of the militia, somewhat
Mhm.
familiarity with techno armor.
Mhm.
Is there a way that I can identify it further from that?
In what way?
Is this armor being driven by a human or a construct? Can I detect that via the pattern?
Yes, you can. Constructs have it's ones and zeros, so their movement is very methodical and very predictable. This has the appearance of a human, for the most part.
Okay, that's question number 2. Question number 3. I assume that there are some kind of schedules and that they go out in teams. Is anyone supposed to be out here right now in techno armor doing scouting missions of the junk pile?
The techno fans usually don't play around in the junkyard. It's a realm reserved for the technosophists, and everyone just kind of ignores it. So that it's that weirdos thing. But you wouldn't see a techno fan out here.
Okay. I will say to Washimi, was any one of your people supposed to be out here today or in the recent past?
What do I do when I'm not literally out, like in the boonies of the apocalypse?
Yeah, I mean, there's like functions of the Citadel of Science that you would attend and kind of provide protection for. Other than that, it's training, it's drills.
Does anyone patrol the scrapyard?
Not really, no.
We're not usually around this area ever. Do these mech steps look familiar at all? Is it possible?
Yeah, I mean they definitely resemble techno-powered footsteps. The same weight, the same width of like the bigger shoes.
Hmm. Do we have like a radio in our mech suits to eat other people, or no?
No, yeah, that's something the technosophists do, but that tech isn't kind of upheld in this society.
Hmm.
Quick
Okay.
question.
Mhm.
Are all of the tech suits of armor the same? Like, is it standard issue, or are they kind of piecemeal put together and they are like they
Yeah.
have different unique qualities?
Yeah, it's kind of unique to each person. Usually they're kind of given aspects of techno armor, and then they kind of throughout their career make it their own.
Is there anything about the footprints that suggests a particular unique quality about this mech suit?
Yeah. There is a slight indention in the back, a little piece where the sole of the shoe might have some sort of contraption. You kind of see it sometimes with more eccentric techno-powered individuals who almost have like a blade that comes out of the boot.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Is that marking familiar to me at all? Are there anyone on my team that uses a mech similar to that foot build?
Some do. If you want to know,
Really?
you have to give me a Steam. If you
All
can
right.
get 2 successes, you can have this.
Okay, so I can play 2 cards for this?
Well, let's see if you have anything that could help you remember.
I have techno enhanced combat. Would that?
I think that'll work, yeah.
Okay.
It's knowledge of stuff as well as beating the crap out of people.
Steam. Okay, I've got a 4 and a 5 of clubs.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, looking down at it, Haley did use that particular fighting style. You know a few others you know about 3 others that you've traveled with within the last year who also do it.
Okay. Any that I know would be in the area, or do I know? How tight is this?
Huh?
How tight is this like grouping in like?
Not very tight. There's a significant still amount of people in Florence. So you might be with the same person like once every couple of days, but definitely not every day.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know like 3 others who use that sort of fighting style. Knowing them, they would not be out here. Like no one likes it out here. It smells weird. It looks weird. Look what the type of people it produces.
Resemble that remark.
Judgmental.
Yeah.
Is there any way of discerning a direction that these tracks would have gone?
Yeah, for 2 successes, you can know the answer to that question.
2 successes on gear.
Steam. Steam for this one, yeah.
A question. What happens if we run out of cards?
If you run out of cards in your hand, you are just drawing blind until you can rest.
Oh! Fun!
I'd like to play my Joker for a success.
Excellent. Looking around, like you get to this point that almost has a deja vu, a familiarity about it. The footsteps no longer are so sporadic and such, especially I assume Prospera kind of points them out too. Len, this one seems more direct, back and forth along this alleyway between these junk piles. Pacing about as if, or even maybe constructing a particular scene via the use of footprints. It's very peculiar, very odd, but it all centers around this very familiar pile, almost block-like in its appearance. cans of soda kind of welded together, old signs from highways and the like.
I'm gonna go and inspect the pile.
Excellent. Going forward, you notice that there is a gate painted a dark kind of copperish color, welded together kind of by like stop sign poles interlacing across from one another. Just past it, you see what kind of resembles a steel garden, pieces of metal twisted like tulips, intertwined with one another with pieces of mosaic glass attached to it. There are stairs going up on either side to not windows, but openings within this junk pile into this almost courtyard.
I think it goes this way. Or, whoa.
I'll Lushimi will go first, I guess. Just sort of carefully walking forward.
Have I been able to find my mechanical yet?
Yeah. It's kind of pinging within this little junk pile. As you get closer, you notice your screen kind of is distorted, and then you notice that it's kind of a pile of this much larger pile in a darkened room. You see a little bit of light filtering in from a windowless opening. You can almost hear the silent footfalls of your teammates through your own screen, as if it's close by and picking up your own movements.
I have, I believe, a drone spider, which is different, I think, from my mechanicals, unless you don't want it to be.
Oh, sounds good to me.
So it has like greater vision, it's far command, and sturdy. So I'm gonna like, oh, the bowler hat. I was gonna say keep it under the bowler hat, but the bowler hat doesn't have anything on it. So I'm just gonna take it out from my overcoat and toss it into the room and try to see if it can do a little scouting.
Yeah. You throw it into the courtyard as you guys kind of walk into it, moving up the stairs to the first floor, and gazing into the first window there. You see the drones looking at each other. Your own drone is in a pile of different pieced together drones from different technosophists. Some of them you might even recognize, those drones lost throughout the last couple of months without really any explanation attached to it.
Okay. Does it see anything else in the room besides the pile of drones?
It's empty except for that.
Well, then I'm going to go in and start rooting through that pile of drones.
Yeah, so you go upstairs, go into that room and check out your gold mine.
Yep. I'm going to start like shoving parts from other drones into my mechanicals on my feet, in their storage compartments, and things in pockets, and basically just anything I can hold.
Excellent. All right, what's everyone else doing?
Looking around for any footprints as we go. Just I'm being aware, being ready with my readiness.
Yeah.
Lynn is trained in investigation as an architect and would like to just sort of look around and see, is someone like living here? Or is this just like some sort of weird hoarder's den?
Yeah.
And Prospera is trained in tracking, so she is probably trying to more precisely figure out where the Uwo went. I will not stop saying the word Uwo.
Never.
Uwo. What's this?
Uwo.
Whoa.
Can we get Uwos in the chat, please?
Yeah, drop them uos.
All right, excellent. So with you guys looking around and such, it's pretty apparent now that you're in. The kind of facade of subtlety is lost as you begin to poke around, and you notice these heavy footfalls going up and down the stairs. The kind of crunched into the metallic parts in this place. One thing has kind of been tickling the back of your mind, and as you're in the courtyard, you realize that this place has a striking resemblance to the place you saw earlier just this morning. Almost pieced together from a distorted memory. Everything is twisted and blurred. Some things more exaggerated than others.
Oh, this. I have a feeling I know what this is, but Washimi doesn't know that Haley was the mother, right? Like,
well,
that wasn't...
Prospera knows, and also is trained in reasoning.
You're like putting together the pieces.
Yeah. So I will probably, with my, you know what? Let's make it my sonic truncheon in one hand and my sensory diverter in the other. I will make my way toward the gate contraption.
Yeah.
And I will call out, Haley.
There's no movement at first, but then you see two little silhouettes, dark and kind of obscured by the shadow of the particular buildings, gazing out at you from this opening in the junk pile.
Did Haley have a last name or a rank, I guess?
Yeah, so the last name... God, yeah, make me get a last name. Why are last names so hard to think of sometimes? Welby. Haley Welby.
Did Welby have a rank?
It's about the same as yours.
Yeah.
Like just low in.
Haley Welby?
Yeah, you notice the two silhouettes, these heads cocking a little bit as if wondering.
Are those like people heads? Are they constructs?
Are these constructs that replaced her children? I'm gonna lose my shit.
Or are they children?
You could step forward.
I will step through the gate if I can.
Yeah, it's very easy to kind of push to the side. It's not really even connected. It falls over into the kind of matted grass. And to the left, you take a few more steps closer. These things are definitely objects. Getting a little bit closer, you notice the one on the right is a baseball, kind of glued together with other baseballs, with a little mop on the head. The hair kind of going down.
Does it bear any resemblance to one of the children that I saw this morning? Even a passing resemblance?
It does, yes. Like, clothing isn't really diverse. It's very utilitarian. And this one resembles the kind of green dress that one of the sisters had on.
Elise?
Cool. Haley Welby, are you here?
These two little children, as they look, you see like a little stick rise up from behind the junk pile.
Oh, she's holding them.
Kind of like lifting this very awkward, like taped together knives that resemble fingers, and kind of giving a.
Oh no! Oh, Edward Scissored Hands. Not today, thank you.
I guess
Harper's
she
creeped
be-
out. Prosper's not.
would she be able to step forward more?
Oh yeah, you can come as close as you want.
Yeah. I mean, she's just gonna walk all the way towards those things and just say, "Haley, we waited for you. You know, is this where you've been the entire time?"
The on this other humanoid looking daughter, it's like this basketball with a smiley face, and you see a hand kind of crawl up from behind the junkyard with a little black marker. The skin is pale with kind of these blue veins, easily seen, and then placing like a frowny face upon the basketball and then returning underneath the pile.
Blue veins like that. Is that normal? Or is that something I've seen out there in the?
It's either a very, very pale person or someone, it's just like one of those people with like the veins are like very easily seen, but it's like what you would normally see from underneath the arm is on the exterior, like usually the darker part of the skin. It's just it's not something you see usually.
Yeah, but it's not like there's not like things out there that would like there'll be like a fungus that infects people and like puppets them around and
you have it. Yeah, not like that.
Did she look that pale when I met her? When I knew her?
No, she did not.
Haley, we have a doctors here.
Lynn will step forward.
Who could help you if you're sick.
I'm not that kind of doctor.
I am. I'm a surgeon, actually. Lynn is going to step forward and go and have a look. At the Uwo. At Haley the Uwo.
Haley the Uwo.
You approach, and this visage becomes apparent, like these little contraptions, what you would kind of put together to kind of reminisce about something. You see a pale hand poking out of the junk between them, kind of limp at the moment, but a black marker just below it. We kind of move over to Dr. Stone briefly, as there is a slight movement from the ceiling as you're kind of popping and putting things into your pocket.
I'm going to reach out the hand for the cold one to try and make some kind of human connection.
Excellent.
The worst person to do this.
Yeah, I don't know if she would let you touch her.
I'm trained in empathy, so let's see how we do.
I don't
Prosper's ready to like.
Yeah.
I
If
see
anything
you
goes
putting your
down.
hands together, and I heard you very quietly say "excellent," which worries me and fills me with trepidation.
Yeah, I'm just like Prosper's like got the two melee weapons ready to go, and is just like watching closely.
Yeah, Oshimi's standing on one leg, just like one leg, just sort of like.
So I'm reaching out. I'm gonna touch a hand.
Go ahead and make that empathy check. And while you do, Dr. Stone, what do you do with concerning this
Is that
movement?
flesh, hearts?
Yes, flesh.
Okay.
And you would do 2 cards because you have empathy.
Yes.
The more you get, the more of an impact that will happen.
So what I would like to do is I would like to. I only have currently 1 empathy card. And it's a 6. So what I would like to do is discard this and then draw from the top of the deck.
Excellent.
And I drew a 3, so I've got a 9 total.
Perfect. Are they both hearts?
They are both hearts.
Ooh, nice. So 3 successes. Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. All right. But first, over to Dr. Stone, who's heard some ruffling up on the ceiling as he's popping things into his robots.
Oh, there's something on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Does there have to be, though?
Yes.
Okay. Do any of these mechanicals that I've found have any sort of like projectile weapon?
No, it looks like for the most part, all of the kind of paintballs and little knives and stuff have been detached from these things. So someone's been collecting weapons, but you still have the one that you have, as well as
the air taser. Is that a ranged weapon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to fire the air taser directly at whatever's at the ceiling without looking.
Excellent. So it's kind of simultaneously as this air taser shoots out, it lights up the space in between you two and smashes into something humanoid kind of attached to the ceiling among the junk, looking down at you with eyes that are white. Electricity courses through it, and as you, Lynn, kind of grasp this pale hand, you feel shocked as this electricity goes through the hand and into your hand.
My own
as
party
you feel
member
the
just
shock.
chose me.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
so this
had an
thing
idea
is
that
on
might
the
happen.
ceiling and moving the head from the ceiling as opposed to from below, or
No,
both?
so these two locations are on opposite ends of this courtyard. So how exactly they're connected, we haven't figured that out yet.
I don't know how they're
Deeply
connected, but it's
disturbs me.
probably pretty gross.
It's probably gross, especially the white eyes. I don't think these are people. I think they're kind of people, but not really people. I don't know. That seems pretty gross to me.
Darby and I respond equally well to horror, if you can tell.
Perfectly.
Yeah, Bushimi's just gonna pick up Lynn now and just pop, just up and away, just holding Lynn.
You just like hold it lid up.
Yeah, like holding the, you know that picture, the meme of like the adult holding like a child up to the monitor in the supermarket.
Mhm.
That's what Bushimi's doing right now. Just like, nope.
Yeah, and for you, Lynn, like it wasn't enough of an electrical current to like just like mess you up, though your
Like
hair is
electric
kind of
fence?
I guess
Kinda
from your
jolt?
perspective, yeah, very, very slight from like that hand as it's like shaking, and some of your hair is like shooting out on ends.
Yeah. Okay, so
No touchy. No more touchy.
you put me down?
Yeah. I'm just gonna just off to the just away from the hand. Just boop.
I'm gonna try and I'm gonna go and inspect the hand. Ugh. I
Yeah.
actually held the hand, and was it a
There's
person?
it feels in it kind of has that feeling of human. There's even a warmth despite kind of the outward appearance of it. It's not rotting, and you definitely feel some sort of like maybe gel or something along the wrist and down, as if some sort of paste has been used to keep the skin clear and clean
Okay.
in some regard.
So is it literally just a hand, or is there more?
Kind of moving a little bit of the junk pile, you do see that the hand extends further down, definitely longer than a normal hand.
You want me to dig through that in my, mechy protected suit instead of with your fleshy, vulnerable body?
This is a bit of a conundrum.
Yeah, I'm gonna just, Washimi's gonna use just gonna use the feet of her mech to gently
Yeah, you start
move.
moving
Yeah.
things around.
Just
Excellent.
just gently Just around where the arm is coming out the hole.
Yeah.
Dr. Stone, did you find anything?
Yeah, so going back, like Dr. Stone, who's on like the other side of the courtyard, there's several meters in between, and he's on the second floor. It lights up to this woman with white eyes, kind of parts of her flesh replaced by these metallic junkyard pieces, as well as what looked like techno armor. As like she falls down to the ground. She has 3 arms on either side. The bottom 2, they only come to the elbow, and you see kind of like these like circuit, almost like XLR cords coming out of it.
How damaged does it look by the air taser?
It looks annoyed, angry, maybe wrath, as like it kind of like a spider that's been knocked off from its perch. It's scrambling to get up. The legs underneath this thing very much resembles like the thick, bulky, techno-powered armor as it gets up, and this woman looks at you with these dead white eyes and takes a step forward.
Ew!
I would like to have both of my weapons out, not brandishing, but defensive, and say, Haley Welby. Does she look at all familiar from the sketch that I saw earlier?
So you guys don't see it. So this is, you guys are down below and they are up on the thing. So you probably heard like a crash and a commotion. And I don't know Dr. Stone's like vocal response after seeing this thing. Well, I'll leave that up to him.
Okay, so I will not do that, but I will instead hear a commotion and run out.
Yeah.
Oh, Prospero, why were you asking about Haley?
Why was I asking it? But you're asking me why I'm asking about Haley?
Yeah, I was asking Prospero why Prospero was asking about Haley, in particular today.
Just showed up in my case files today.
What about case, like, because this looks like the house.
It does. Haley was the adoptive mother of those children before she went missing. I'm gonna go check out whatever just happened out there.
Hey, you do that!
Run out with my weapons brandished.
and as Prospera does, Lynn and Washimi, you guys both see as you're kind of kicking away the junk piles and stuff that the arm goes several meters down, like these attached arms connected to one another, and then the end part has these little tendrils of like cords that you would plug into a computer sticking out of it.
Picking it up with the foot and just
and it's like it like extends out. It's like
so it's just like arms, like arm to elbow, arm to shoulder, arm to
arm to elbow, arm like just attached.
Okay. Just Ushimi's just holding it, and wherever the wires are is going to take the arm and just start unplugging them. Just nope. I'm just on a wild assumption. I don't think Haley did this by herself. And if she did, I don't like it. Unplug.
Lynn just looks at it. It's very interesting to be investigated later, but I think we should go that direction, and it is going to take off towards where Prosper.
Unplugging the arm and leaving.
Just like... Dr. Stone, what are you up to? This thing took a step forward to you.
Looks like it wants to hurt me, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, it got tased. It's not really happy. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to lean down and flick the switch on one of my mechanicals to make the little spear thing start going. And then he's just going to start heading backwards down the stairs, not taking his eyes off of it, but his mechanicals are just going to start carrying him backwards down the stairs.
Yeah. kind of going around it, takes another step forward towards you. Kind of from the powered armor, this little harpoon kind of comes out of it, steel rope attached to it. As it looks at you, you kind of see the steam powered gears surrounding the harpoon start to turn as if pressure is building. Prospera, you kind of bump into Dr. Stone as he's retreating out of this door, just past this woman with powered armor attached to the legs, and just kind of this pale skin, 3 arms on either side.
Does she look familiar to me from any sketches that I've seen today?
Yeah, you're looking at what might have been Haley at one point in time.
Can I tell that she's like not alive anymore?
Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's something's definitely off. It's not a living person.
Cool. I see that she's getting ready to attack, right?
Give me an empathy check.
Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I will play my Jack of Hearts.
Excellent. Looking at it, you see the pressure build. Everything about the lower functions of the body seem very much ready and engaged, like a predatorial animal ready to pounce. But one of from its left eye, you notice a little bit of dampness, a wetness just underneath it. Something rolling off and down the cheek as if it could be a tear.
It's getting ready to fire a harpoon, I think you said, or that was what Dr. Stone did?
Yeah, it looks like you see kind of these gears winding up around this harpoon attached to its power armor.
Cool. I would like to I would like to attack specifically the harpoon with my sonic truncheon.
Excellent. So that's steel for you.
Cool. Ah! I will play a 4 of diamonds, and I want to push the limit if that's possible.
Yeah, so you're dealing with 2 consequences approaching this thing.
Okay.
One of which will be grabbing you. The other will be inflicting damage upon you. So your successes can be used to nullify these completely, or nullify some of them and still do something, or however you wish to use them.
Okay.
But yeah, you can go ahead and blind choose.
Okay, I'm going to discard my 2 of hearts to push the limit. And the other card that I get is a 3 of spades. So not enough for another success. So I got 1 from the diamond.
Excellent. So what did you want to do? Did you want to nullify one of the consequences, or are you just going to take the consequences and do what you set out to do?
I would like to take the consequences and try to disable that harpoon arm.
Excellent.
Can I help at all?
On your turn, yes, which will be coming up very soon. For this very action, as you approach, yeah, you can disable or at least slow down the gears, maybe even hit it. We'll have you describe it, but it will definitely, with its left arm, kind of hit the side of your your side. You feel a couple of cracks as the bones in your ribs just kind of shatter a little bit. So you are taking 2 exhaustion. And what that means is that you have to randomly discard 2 cards from your hand.
I only have 1 card in my hand.
Yes. So that gets discarded. And because there's still 1 extra... since there's still 1 extra card to be discarded, you're going to take a trauma. So trauma is meant to be flexible, and they can go to any of your traits. So if it's a physical wound, it goes to steel. If it's like more of an emotional, social thing, hearts, etc., etc. So this is a trauma to steal your to steal diamonds. the first trauma is just a role play note that things are not going well. If you ever get to 4 trauma, you're just out, you're dead, or incapacitated, however you want to reflect it.
Okay.
After this trauma, you'll be taking a -1 success to everything related to that suit. But this one is just a role play note. You are smashed and then grabbed by this thing. But how do you do what you set out to do?
So I am trained in both. I'm trained in athletics, readiness, and dexterity. So I'd say that Prospera, seeing that Dr. Stone is in danger from this thing, will run forward and put her body in between him and this construct. And as it hits and grabs her, she reaches out with the free hand and knocks into the harpoon. And can we say that she disables it or like knocks it loose? Or would it be
I will.
that she...
Yeah, you have narrative control. You can knock it loose, which looks like it's very much a part of it, or you can disable it. I think both kind of have connotations associated with it, but I'll let you.
We'll say then that like the area that the harpoon would shoot out of becomes like bent from the impact and is like no longer in line.
Excellent. All right, so Washimi and Lynn, are you guys running up or?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Hauling my mech ass across the field. Just
Yeah.
I hear banging and stuff, and that sounds like Tin Can's time to soak up the damage.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Lynn won't be able to do anything this round as you're kind of going up the stairs and everything. Washimi, you'll be the same unless you want to use one of your pellets to activate your boosters.
Oh, so I have 10 pellets? Is that correct?
Yeah, 10 pellets.
I would love to use a pellet to activate... okay. So I can only use one pellet at a...
Yeah, it's kind of like you have this almost like the Iron Man little heart thing. You have these little pellets that kind of have this electrical energy within it that you kind of shove into your power suit to do like these limited and very powerful things beyond what it can normally do.
Okay. And so both the weapons and the power assist table are pellet usage?
No, the weapons are just something you have.
Oh.
Yeah, the
Sick.
power assisted table are specific for the power assisted, so
Oh,
those are the
yes.
only ones that require.
I would love to expend a pellet to use my power assisted thrust.
All right.
And just like crouch down and just bounce off with like big leg energy.
Excellent. What does this look like as because you'll be crashing through junk piles and stuff to get to this room.
Yeah, it's like I was talking about this earlier, but I guess audience here. You know, like the secretary bird. It's like it's notorious for like kicking the shit out of snakes and stuff like that, and it's got really powerful legs. Like that's like all it does. Her entire mech kind of looks like she has arms and stuff, and they're kinda, but they're sort of styled like wings. But it's all in the legs, just crouching and just with like jump force and then smashing down into wherever she heard the noise come from.
Excellent.
Which I guess she's coming through the ceiling.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. You know, you're in power armor, so you make doors where others see walls. So you just crash through part of the wall and then up through the roof and then back down through the roof as you land on the floor and in the room, seeing Prospera being grabbed by this thing. Dr. Stone, what are you up to?
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if this is too complicated for my turn. I would like to unstrap my foot from and pick up the mechanical that has the spear thingy on it. I would like to take my air taser, lock it to the on position, strap it to it, and throw it at the thing so it's like the spear is like forcing it to get tased a few times in a row.
Yeah. I will say with 2 successes, you can accomplish that.
And what am I?
That would be, I think, athletics or something physical would be more appropriate for this particular action.
Okay.
So that is diamonds. And if you have an applicable skill that would allow you to draw 2 cards, let me know.
Well, I have the queen, not in my hand, but which says that when I play an athletic skill, I get successes from both diamonds and spades. But
yeah, perfect.
I don't have any spades at the moment, so I'm going to play this 2 of diamonds and blind draw.
All right.
And that is a joker.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Oh, all right. What does this look like?
So basically, he's going to swing his leg up, kind of like, you know how like if you're kicking your shoes off when you don't really want to lean down and take them off.
Yeah.
So he kind of like flips it up, grabs it, and while Prosper is being like hit by the thing, he's going to tie or like tape or adhesive somehow this air taser onto the end of the spear, and then he's going to this thing has metal on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that we're fighting.
Yeah, it's pretty much its lower half is this power armor.
Okay, so his, and again, tell me if this is me just running away with things, but his drones, when they collect things, I believe they have like magnetism that they just draw things with. So he's going to chuck it at it with the magnetism on, so it latches onto its lower half, and then just
that's totally cool,
tasing it over and over and over again.
All right, excellent. So with that, like your wrist is kind of it loosens its grip upon your wrist, Prospera, as it kind of falls backward with this thing like shocking it every couple of seconds. It looks like it's screaming, but there's nothing coming from its mouth, nothing vocal as it's staring up to the roof, clearly in pain.
It's looking at the roof.
Yeah, just kind of like it's fallen back and it's just kind of gazing up. Yeah.
Does it drop me?
Yeah, it's loosened its grip, so you can kind of like wiggle your hand out real quick.
I would like to, as best as I can with broken ribs, do like a 3-point superhero landing. Probably won't go well, but
excellent. Yeah, I think so. You're just kind of following this thing, or trying to get out away.
This thing doesn't appear human in any way, right? Like beyond the like this once was a human. No, I guess there was a tear coming from the eye, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I do kind of want to try this. I want to try to use my sensory diverter, but I don't really know how it works. Harp doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's just kind of like this little contraption that helps militia take someone in without hurting them, which is kind of the whole point of the society. Is not to like damage the physical goods, that being the things that will eventually be turned into a construct post-mortem. And so it's like this little thing that just causes a shriek that just cause headaches and all sorts of stuff, debilitates them.
So I want to see if my sensory diverter will work on this thing and gauge my actions from there. All
right. So you activate it and toss it over. We'll say a dex check to get it kind of in the right spot.
I have to blind draw for this. That's
fun.
Oh, baby. Okay.
What was it again?
7 of clubs.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So 30. Okay, cool.
I don't know if that's helpful in any way, but
It's helpful. It's
Okay.
helpful. It kind of bounces off on the side, and this thing just kind of goes very still.
So it doesn't look like it's in pain at all.
It looks like it passed out. Kind of a sensory overload.
Okay. Um.
And Len,
Well-
you've made it up the stairs by now, and we are out of initiative.
Uh-huh.
Lynn, your professional opinion?
Let me have a look. Lynn's gonna run up and have a look at Haley.
Excellent. Go ahead and you can do necroneurological programming. Necrological program. There you
Yeah,
go.
necroneurological
which is-
programming.
Yeah, which is your gear.
Absolutely. So, gear
Imminimini.
is spades. And funny story, when I drew spades and I drew hearts. I drew nothing else.
Oh, you had spoons for just 2 things today.
It was that smoothie that I had this morning. So I am going to use my last 2 cards for a 10 total.
And they're both spades, right?
And they are both spades.
So 3 successes. Perfect. This thing is unique. There might even be some excitement to see such innovation. A mix between a construct and a physical person. It looks like all that's left of this particular person is kind of in the shoulder up. The only piece of flesh and body that is singular. That hasn't been changed. Everything else is piecemeal of different parts between flesh and machine. Especially going down, it
Are you
becomes
saying
more
that
machine.
she's more machine now than human?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Someone did this to her. That's fucked up.
Yeah. You do see kind of the looking through the programming. And it's almost like if you ever saw like the Alan Turing movie, the kind of old
Enigma machine, or was it?
yeah,
Enigma
yeah,
machine?
like the old computers is very
Yeah.
much kind of like how constructs operate with gears and such, that where you can kind of get the gist of programming by continuing to look at the boards connected to each other.
Boring.
Is there
Yeah.
any chance it's saving the human within, or is that too far gone?
It is. Yeah, it's so the programming is specific to protect the life, like protect this life.
Someone's been
is the
doing some
programming.
extracurricular activities.
This is very disturbing.
If we take her back to the Hall of Science, we can have a better understanding as to what caused this or who caused this, because
I
This
can
is-
carry her.
this is work unlike anything that I've ever seen before.
I can carry her. That's probably the best I could do.
And if such a time comes that we can rehabilitate her, we can definitely return her to her family.
Yeah. That harpoon, was that part of her mech suit? Her
Mhm.
her tech.
Yeah, you kind of some mechs or techno armors have them.
harpoons.
Yeah, just kind of like this little harpoon that they shoot out in kind of a come over here fashion.
Yeah. Is she in her suit?
She
Along
is
with all
her
these.
suit.
Yeah,
She is her
she
suit?
is
Ah.
her suit. It's kind
Goody.
of just
Can we? Oh God, there's no way to scoop her out of
Sorry,
it, is
Herbs,
it?
are you
'Cause she's
okay?
just
Yeah.
too much.
Scooping her out of it?
I mean, like no,
Like
not
scoop
like
the
not like.
suit, the whole thing,
Yeah, like
the person.
Like, you know when you scoop a child out of a seat, like
Lift
that
them
kind of
out.
scoop, not like
Yeah.
scrape.
It's my understanding that she's attached to her suit.
Yes.
Is
And
that
then
correct?
yeah. So I'm just, I was like, there's no way to like get her out. Okay, I'm just gonna. Can I pick up the? Oh God, the suit.
We'll
Suit.
we'll
with
find a way
her
to get.
or-
If you like, we could also call for reinforcements and get
Oh, I could do that.
a few people to help
Do I have any kind of communication device?
There aren't any radios. You kind of just have to head on over. One thing so for Len, you know that you can deactivate the programming, which would deactivate kind of the lower half of and the very lethal aspect of her
I would
body.
like to do that, please.
That makes sense. With your successes, you can easily just change the programming to more of a standby.
Yeah, I'll
thing.
put the suit in standby mode. But we'll work on bringing her home.
I mean, assuming that Prospera kind of picks up her little item, you're going to see those eyes flutter. The whites, you can't, because it has no iris, it's impossible to tell what it's looking at, but you can almost feel it looking at each one of you.
Haley? Do you know who I am?
Was she me?
Yes. Do you remember what happened to you?
It's like a mountain I can't reach. And I don't think I want to.
Well, if it can speak, then I suggest we get it back to the city for further questioning.
I mean, she didn't do this to herself.
I'm aware, but
I can't go back.
Haley, I am an architect. We can take you to the academy, and we're going to have a good look at you, if that's all right.
Will I lose myself?
I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Is that something you can guarantee?
I think so.
yourself?
Who I am? Question mark.
You.
Who are you?
Haley.
And who is Haley?
Mother.
This is... What is the last thing you remember? Before.
Sunflowers. Clear field. Stone. Reaching up to the sky, a cross. Cathedral of sorts. Maybe a church.
Out there?
The wilderness did cover it.
Did you meet someone there?
I think I did. But I'd rather not think of it.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Rest for now. We're gonna help you.
I'm going
Is
to make
there-
sure
are
nothing
there,
bad
like,
happens
different-
to you anymore.
Okay.
Are there like different settings on my sensory diverter?
Yeah, you can kind of like attack a certain sensory thing of a human.
If possible, I would like to knock her unconscious with it.
Yeah, you kind of like up the frequency and you see her eyes flutter again and then she's very still.
Go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
Well, architect, I definitely will have some questions for her,
Well,
it, when we get back.
Her. She's a name.
I'm aware that she had a name. I'm not sure if she's still who you think she is.
I mean, she built this just waves arm
Did she build it?
The residual memories, they're there. The person
I don't know how much of your old
too. I'm not.
teammate still lives inside this thing's head.
Well, I'd prefer to assume
There's
that.
only one way to find out.
Yeah. I'd rather assume that she is there and help save her than to assume that she's not and possibly lose her.
Well, we'll see what we can find out when we get her back to the city.
Is it how common is it for people to know how to do this, like anything related to construct work? Is this like something that any Joe Schmo can pick up?
Oh, this is just
this-
the architects, who are the epitome of society, the ones who spend every day since the age of 14 studying and learning the advanced science and biology and thermodynamics that it takes to make this all happen. Though even this is a miracle in of
miracle.
itself. Yeah.
This is
Which kind of brings into mind, what does humanity usually do with miracles? What does society do to something different?
we can't
poke
take
at
it
it
back.
until they can figure it out. Yeah. And it might have been an architect who did this to her. I mean, you said yourself you've never seen anything like it.
No, this work is amazing.
And who else does amazing works except the architects? Unless there's some
There has
genius
a rogue
maestro.
to be architect
Yeah.
somewhere out in the wild.
Maybe.
Like I said, we'll know more once we can question her.
Well,
How
Well,
sure are you that
a
it could be
conundrum.
someone from the wilds? Couldn't it possibly just be someone of your higher-ups?
yeah. I mean, how often do people pass through this area to the scrapyard? Not like
Yeah, you guys were walking a good distance, and this whole place is like a maze with no real indicators because of the environment and the way things are, just where you are in it. Techno-sophists are definitely better at it than everyone else, but it's just kind of an old world that continually shifts and moves, springs new life in old.
Can't we try and take care of her here? We've put her on standby. If no one knows she's here.
A conundrum.
Are we
That
assuming
if we
that no
take
one
her
knows
back.
she's here? We know that she couldn't do this to herself.
Is there any sign
Figure.
of anybody else being in this area?
No, looking at the footprints, both Prospera and Lynn, like, since you guys did all that work pre thing, you notice that the boots and everything definitely match what you saw earlier.
She's the
Every
only one here.
footstep.
Maybe she escaped? Came back to a place where people wouldn't see her. But safe enough to habitate. We don't know. I just think if she's been here undisturbed, we can.
With my role, would I have been able to have found any kind of maker's mark or signature
Yeah,
in the
so
code?
it's definitely not a Florence architects usually kind of have, like, you guys were all instructed and educated in the same way, so there's definitely similarities, though distinctions. And this one, even from its source code, is very different. It's almost in a different language, even though the mathematics are kind of a universal language between its kind of functions and stuff are written in a different language.
Do I recognize the language?
Give me a Steam.
Okay. Oh god. Okay. I'm gonna have to draw a blind from the deck.
All right.
And Steam is clubs. It's a club. It's a horror club.
Perfect.
According
It's
to my
French.
handy dandy cheat sheet because
It's
I don't actually have
French.
regular playing cards.
Mm-hmm. It is French.
Fucking French or understand.
Those dastardly French and their constructs.
Goddamn colonizers. Okay.
Well, if you'd rather deal with her out here, I do have some questions that I need to ask her.
I think that's
I think
appropriate.
keeping
I think
her out here for now, I can bring any equipment we need.
I would like to prepare
here,
the
let me-
space for an interrogation, and I'm not sure what that would require of me.
Before we do anything, though, here, and I am going to start like setting the ribs and bandaging up Prospera.
Yeah.
Try and
Excellent.
yeah, Prosper just vibing with broken ribs.
Didn't notice her injuries.
Yeah,
just like, I have a job to do here.
Oh,
the
no.
adrenaline's like pumping through.
I was asked to do a specific thing. This is the secondary thing, but I'm taking the note of that. But you told me to do this. You didn't tell me to do that.
All right, so you don't have any cards in your hand, correct?
I am drawing blank. I've got nothing.
So what I would suggest is at this time, since you guys have some time to take your second breath, to relax, 20 minutes maybe, just look around, keep it super casual.
And when you take a second breath, you draw.
Yeah, so anytime you take a breath, you may discard one card. So if you just didn't want a card or wanted to move through, and then you draw up to 6 from the top.
You don't have any cards in your hand. How do you discard? You just
you don't have to discard. It's just kind of like if you have a low number and you want to like shuffle it out in hopes of getting another card. That's what that's for.
too bad. And after we take our breath, I want to prepare the space for an interrogation. I don't know what that will look like.
Yeah. I mean, it's depending on.
Dog.
Yeah, you probably just kind of put some wires and stuff down to hold this person, especially its potentially lethal aspects down, such.
Okay.
And Lynn, you can do an advanced medicine check, which is gear for you. You just Prosper only has 1 trauma. You just need 1 success to take it down.
All right. I actually have surgeon because I am a specialized doctor. I have my jack.
Excellent. Yeah, so that lets you play Steam. You just do it at a -1 penalty to the value to try to remove steel trauma.
So those
So
are
it just kind of opens
spades,
up more cards to you. Yeah.
and or Steam is clubs, so I get to play clubs.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you can play
have-
clubs and spades because of this ability.
Okay, I have 1 club.
Excellent. All right, perfect. So yeah, set those bones. I mean, they're still cracked, but at least
And
they'll be
bandage them
growing.
up, so just, like,
Yeah.
try not to move too much, if you can.
No guarantees.
Yeah.
It's,
So as you guys are looking around and just kind of taking in this moment, I will allow everyone to ask one question concerning what happened as you're kind of seeing these little etchings on the wall showing a slight history. So yeah, one pressing question you have.
regarding the scene.
I have one. About how long does it seem that she's been in this space?
It looks like about 5 months.
How long has it been since she disappeared? Sorry, just relative to
Yeah, no problem. It's she's been gone for almost a year. So there's definitely some time in between, like what was she doing in those months prior? Who knows? But she's been here pretty recently.
Do we know other countries have pockets of civilization, or is
So
this like a?
I'll give you that one for free because it's setting. No one knows any other country outside. In no other city outside of Florence that's still going.
Oh, okay. Cool. Fuck. Yes. Did Lynn tell us this seems French? Lynn.
The language, the programming language is French. Not the standard.
Has Washimi ever seen this cathedral before? Does she know what?
Have you ever been that far out in your travels?
I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out.
So we can make this your question if that's what you want to know.
Yeah.
As you're looking through things, there's a kind of jogging of your memory. A beautiful little town, several miles. You probably were what could amount to several days out in the wilderness, a very far dispatch. You come across a little town, a farmland with a beautiful church surrounded by sunflowers, visages of angels etched into the mosaic, glittering from the sun into this old church with part of its walls missing.
You've seen the place before.
Yeah, you can almost trace the steps through your mind on how to get back. So Lynn and Dr. Stone, what are your questions?
Is there any hope to have her live a normal life?
No. As you're looking at everything, there's a longing, singular and focused to see her kids again. I mean, this whole place, she must have actually gone into the city recently. Some of this stuff it feels new and fresh, not like an old memory put together. This is recent. This is something that she probably has seen with her own eyes not too long ago, put together in just the way that she is put together. I don't think things could ever be normal, but maybe things could still have a happy ending.
Then I'd like to work towards that happy ending with her.
Dr. Stone?
I don't know if he has any specific questions aside from like, are there more like her? Like,
yeah, that's
general?
a good question. Because you go into one particular room and you see this image, brown hair, just kind of shining with the sun behind it, an eye that almost looks like a glass monocle, kind of laced with the eye, a tear coming from the other eye, gazing out at you. It almost has these angelic wings coming from behind it, and you see all around it that there are these French sentences just written all around it, almost like scripture. It's a beautiful visage of something that you believe Haley has seen. Now, what exactly it could be, who knows? But maybe something glorious and maybe something new. Maybe it's hope, or maybe it's not. So, as you guys, we'll say kind of, as you guys are getting ready for the night, maybe even going back to get some supplies and such like that. What are your final thoughts as, because we're definitely going to end it right here, this kind of cusp of something wondrous, and surely a journey that will stretch out for as long as it takes. But what's everyone pondering as the night slowly overcomes this old junk pile, the moonlight kind of reflecting off these steel flowers and their glass attachments to it?
Lynn is definitely pondering ways that this could not only be the hope that she brings, if it can be replicated. Lynn is pondering that.
Prospera is definitely concerned. She's not sure if this represents hope and a step forward for humanity or a step away from humanity, given what she's seen it do. So she's very trepidatious right now.
Dr. Stone, this whole thing in his head just reaffirms his belief that we're all better suited looking back than forward. Just with the technology of the past and trying to make it work again, rather than whatever this, and in his head it's kind of an abomination, whatever this shell of human life is, because he can't imagine. I mean, he may well be wrong, but he can't imagine any kind of horrors like that lying in the old transistor radios that he goes through, and the old cathode ray tubes and Rocky Horror Picture Show DVDs.
Yeah. Things were simpler then. And Washimi?
I think Washimi feels thoughts, just anger, I guess, that someone did this to Haley. That they probably took her from that place with the sunflowers, the cathedral. That sounds very, very beautiful to find out in the apocalypse, to be honest. And it didn't really seem like she got a choice on being the furtherment or hope of humanity. Well, I think that's Washimi's final thought.
Excellent. And with that was Necrobiotic. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Woo! Yes, thank you so much, Mitch, for running that for us. Necrobiotic is coming into Kickstarter when?
May 12th. The pre-launch page is up right now. Last time I checked, we were at 555. I want to get 666 because that's more exciting. But yeah, any assistance is always appreciated so we can continue to make it the glorious game that we want it to be.
If you have the link for it, throw it in chat right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, that has been System Crash, this episode of Necrobiotic. We will go through and we'll do our outros. We will start with the lovely Harper.
Oh, hello, everyone. I am Harper, and today I played Prospera. I am a podcaster, streamer, and general TTRPG nerd about the internet. You can find me everywhere on the social internet, including TikTok as Harpersona, or on Twitter as Harpersona Games, because Harpersona was banned. I don't know why, don't ask me. You can find me here on the Critical Misses channel 2 days a week on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays for Kingsguard, a Roll20 Spotlight show where I play Shosha Sisters in a 5e game. And Fridays where I play characters like this that we make up on the spot, and it's a good old fun time.
Give me that.
You can also find me on the Chaotic Pod Twitch channel, which I co-run with my beautiful, wonderful creative partner, Darby. You can see me there on Thursdays, on Saturdays, and on Sundays. Thursdays for co-op chaos, co-op video games. Saturdays for either Harper's Homeroom or a rerun. And on Sundays for Hidden Magics, our 5e homebrew game for which I am the DM. You can also hear my voice on any podcasting platform you wish on Chaotic Creations, a podcast where we take weird prompts and make weird TTRPG characters. And coming up next month, Tortal Y'all, where the lovely Alicia, who is Petty Energy in chat, and I are reading chapter by chapter through the entire Tortal and all of the books by Tamara Pierce. I think that is it for me. So I'm going to pass it down to my lovely, wonderful, beautiful Darby.
Hello, it's me. I'm Darby. You can find me on Twitter as @DarbyPack. That's my real human name, but really I'm just a possum in a skin suit. D. Other side of the paper, Darby. When I'm not here on Fridays for System Crash, you can find me on the other two shows run on this channel. Mondays for Kingsguard, a Roll20 Spotlight show, and Wednesdays for Vampires the Masquerade, or Under Pale Cold Sun, a Vampires the Masquerade game. I know how to make the same sentence structure go multiple times. Yes, I do. When I'm not on Critical Misses, I'm, like Harper mentioned, we help do Chaotic Pod. Twitch, it's a Twitch channel and also a podcast where we take weird prompts to make weird TTRPG characters. I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays. Tuesdays for Darby's Dungeon, where I play video games. And then Thursday for Co-op Chaos with Harper or someone else, or Harper and someone else without me. But, you know, it's some combination. And Sundays for Hidden Magics. And the last place you can find me on the internet is as the community lead for the Fey Realms, inclusive TTRPG space. We are actually going to be doing, I think, a Necrobiotic one-shot soon, which is going to be really cool, really fun, especially now knowing this system. And God, that was a lot of emotions for this little thing. You know, I'm very excited. You can't see, I'm not in any of the shows, but you can catch me behind the scenes doing Discord and Twitch and all that kind of good stuff. So, passing it on over. Left?
Other way. Yeah, right there. To you, Sim.
Hi there. My name is Ryan, technically, but people online know me as Sim. You can find me on Twitter at the Simulacre. That's SIMULACRAE, because I know it's a hell of a name to try to spell. You can also find me on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/thesimulacre. I make music for TTRPG commissions, people want character themes or podcast themes, or just music for your streams. My stuff is not, you're not going to get DMCA'd on my stuff because it's mine. I don't have a game. I don't have any games right now, which is why I was absolutely thrilled to get the call tonight for System Crash, because I haven't played anything in probably a few months, and I miss it dearly. But if you like me, check out my stuff, or if you really like me, support all of the wonderful human beings that I am currently sharing a screen with. And if you don't like me, well, that's a you problem.
It sucks to be you. You're missing out.
Yeah. Especially the no beard that we got to see before the stream.
Snapchat no beard filter is the scariest thing known to man. You need to put that in your game.
I think it's just gonna be the fun.
And finally, Mitch.
Yeah, hi. I am Mitch, also known as Penny for a Tale. You can find me on all social medias as such. I also run Weave the Tale and Penny for a Tale, which focuses on indie TTRPG content in all its beautiful forms. I also produce and do some writing for TTRPGs, and I just love sharing this wonderful stuff with people. I can tell you that there will be a soundtrack for Necrobiotic, so like Stone. I keep thinking Stone, but Ryan, let's chat sometime later. And definitely like this was one of my favorites one shots ever. For people who don't know, we do a different one shot every time. Everything's different. I don't repeat myself for any of these one shots. And I definitely think for the Fey Realm one, part 2 of this will blossom and we'll see a little bit more.
So maybe I'm in that one shot. Maybe Prosper will return.
Yeah, like let's do it. I want to see what happens, and I want to see the choices everyone makes. Like that would just be awesome. And so I'm really excited about that. And of course, thank you everyone for giving me this platform. And I hope everyone had a great time because I sure as heck did.
Yeah,
and that's it for me.
Yeah, and once again, I'm Anita or Panita or Critical Misses. I am the founder and showrunner for the Critical Misses Twitch channel. So you can find me here pretty much every time. So you can find me here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for D&D, Vampires, and System Crash, where we will play another completely off-the-cuff, beautiful game and tell a wonderful story. But for now, we're going to go on a raid. I see that Weave the Tail is online. Do we want to spread some love over that direction? Yeah, so we are going to go on a raid. We're going to go say hi to Weave the Tail.
What is the friend version of nepotism?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, we'll send some love over in that direction. But thank you all so much for stopping by and hanging out and telling stories with us. We love you all very much, but until next time, the system is down. Bye, everybody.
Bye.